Going on, Jerome's? Happy Wednesday. Your Minnesota Vikings, as well as the other 31 teams in the league, will be cutting down their rosters after this final preseason game this weekend. And, it's sort of a tough time of year as the roster gets cleaved in half, practice squads get set, etc. But Kwesi is always up to something. And in his second year, you've seen Kwesi churning and burning and making these small transactions throughout the offseason as well as into training camp, where he gets a lot of flack. It's like, Kwesi signing Jordan Ta'amu, or Kwesi, you're bringing on Chim Okafor and letting go of Jackie Chan. All the pieces are in place, all that stuff. But it behooves the general manager to improve every single spot on the roster, whether it's spot number 1, whether it's spot number 90, whether it's spot number 53, doesn't matter. If you can improve this team, you should go out and do it. So Kwesi should get some credit there. But the question is Kwesi going to cook before the start of the season? Like, Vikings got a little bit of cap space. Maybe it's burning a hole in their pocket. Maybe they see some holes on the roster, and maybe they want to make a couple of big-time moves and get things done. Now, the easy ones would, of course, be signing Dalton Risner. Please. Or, like we suggested earlier today, Jason Peters one time, where I don't care if he's 41. He's still got an anchor. He's still got a great ass, and he would be an upgrade for depth at all 4 offensive line spots besides center. So, yes, do that up. But the whole thing about Kwesi cooking is that Kwesi got after it before the start of last season in training camp. So, looking back, Kwesi does like to make a couple of trades, and he ain't scared, man. So looking back at a couple of the moves that the Vikings made last year. So they made 4 training camp trades as they got down to the 53-man rooster. Number 1 was acquiring Nick Mullins from the Raiders for a 2024 7th-round pick. That's because they weren't impressed with Sean Mannion. They weren't impressed with Kellen Mond. And Nick Mullins is a perfectly fine, sort of vanilla backup quarterback. He's fine. Then, as 50th-man roster cutdowns came about, the Vikings made a couple moves. So they traded a 6th-round pick for Ross Blacklock and a 7th-rounder. They traded Jesse Davis to the Steelers for a 2025 7th-rounder. So we look forward to that in 2 years. And then they also traded for Jalen Reagor, a 2024 4th-round pick, which is conditional, as well as a 2023 7th-round pick. So the Vikings and Kwesi, they'll make moves. They will make some deals to try and improve the roster. Now, you could say, well, yeah, Mullins is fine, but Blacklock hasn't worked out, or Jesse Davis, whatever, or Jalen Reagor hasn't worked out, even though he's had a nice camp. That's fine. I would rather a GM takes chances to try and improve the roster and try and hit pay dirt rather than not. You can't win the lotto unless you buy a ticket, and that's exactly what these moves are. And you're giving up draft capital. They're 6th and 7th round picks. Who cares at that point? And also, we're trading in division, the Hawkinson trade. Let's go, man. Let's go. But the whole thing about Kwesi is that some of that I respect it. Some of that drives me nuts, where he doesn't do things conventionally, and he will make trades in division. He will make trades when other GMs wouldn't, and he'll take chances. So I actually do respect that, and I think that does play into his analytics mindset, where it's like, hey, we'll take these undervalued assets and we'll try to make something of them. And that's exactly what happened with guys like N'Keal Harry, the former 1st-round pick, bringing him in. Yeah, I think he has a legitimate chance to make the 53. That's what Kwesi continually does, and that's what they tried to do at the at the 53-man roster cutdown last year. I mean, Blacklock was a number 40 overall pick. It hasn't quite panned out yet. Jalen Reagor was a 1st-round pick. Obviously, ahead of Justin Jefferson. So trying to take those guys that have that high draft pedigree, and it's mama, I can change him sort of deal. And sometimes they'll work out. And you never know unless you take that shot. So I'm glad that Kwesi does that. But also, can we just sign Dalton Risner? Can we please, go ahead and make some fringe roster trades. Go trade for some veterans that have potential that may be in the 53-man rooster cuts anyway. So, go do that up. Give up a 7th-rounder. I don't care. Secure the rights and go from there. But your thoughts are thoughts. Will Kwesi cook at 53-man roster cutdowns this year like he did last year? Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But next time, Skol, production value.